Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, P Street Garage. I'm out here on the Comet again today, and not my last video, but a couple of videos ago, somebody commented. In fact, it was Mr. Paul from Heavy Metal Customs, a really good metal fabricator, and he's a YouTuber that I follow. And he happened to watch my video, and he noticed that my water pump, he thought may have been spinning backwards. And right now, of course, I never thought of this. When I bought this engine, this is a 1972. It's got a more modern, whatever you want to call it, this flat belt type of system. And he's got a very good point. And the point is that when you have a serpentine type belt like this with grooves, any smooth pulley, when the pulley is smooth, this surface is supposed to ride on it, not the ribs. So the bottom pulley is ribbed. So this is all good. So this is good. This is good. This is not proper. Now, the old pulley it's a smooth pulley, but it has wear marks from. So I'm thinking that this engine may have been run in this configuration. Maybe this will be okay, although it's not. This is not how you would do things. If this will work for me, I'll leave it. And that's because after doing a little bit of research, these pumps, these water pumps for the old 302s, they come in, I guess what I'm saying is you can get a clockwise or a counterclockwise one. So there's two different types. So I don't know, and apparently the only way to tell is to pull it off. So I was fiddling with this again this morning because here I was thinking I would run this belt underneath. So I did that, and of course I had to remove my battery tray because this is how this whole issue started in the first place, where this configuration didn't fit with my battery tray. I ended up modifying the tray and this and that. So I've kind of decided now that I don't really feel like taking this water pump off at this time. Maybe this pump has been changed. I believe the engine turns clockwise, which means this pump would turn clockwise. If this has been changed to a clockwise pump, this will be okay. And there's no way of knowing unless you take it off. So while I was in here, I had a peek at this old horn. So I thought, well, I don't feel like messing with this again. I'm going to hold off on that. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. So I started fiddling with this old horn, and of course this horn is dead. So I took this out. Just going to discard that over there. Scrap metal, can't do anything with that. So I went to Princess Auto, and I bought this. I bought a car horn for $12. So I'm in the process of wiring this up, and I've pulled out my wiring diagram here, and you're going to think, well, why would you need a wiring diagram for a horn? And I didn't really, but it's, I was wondering why I had two black wires coming off of my horn relay, and that's because the car originally would have had two horns. So I figured that out. I'm only going to go with the one horn. That's all I need. The yellow and blue, that's the power coming from, if you follow this all the way back to the firewall, it comes all the way to the horn button. And I followed that all the way in, and the colors are correct. And I've got this other little black and yellow that goes back into the voltage regulator. And this is all fine and dandy. And I have remounted the horn relay. So now I've got the horn hooked up. There's only one horn. This is if I wanted the second horn, but I think one is fine. So I'm going to trim this up, and well, before I go do any trimming, I'll see if this works first. So now the big question is will it work from the horn button? Usually that's where the issue is, because the contacts get dirty or broken. My horn ring Has a nice spring to it. So, will it work? I don't know. I mean, this steering wheel's got to come off anyway at some point. But just for the heck of it, since I've decided to abandon this this water pump alternator thing for now. I'm going to put the battery tray back in, put my battery back in, which is fully charged now. And let's just see for the heck of it, if when I push my horn button, if indeed I have anything at all. I probably won't. This is wishful thinking on my part for something from 1962. But there's a few things that do work on the car. The lights, the wiring for the lights. Of course, I put new bulbs in, but the lighting works for the most part, not all. The blower motor for the ventilation works. So, what if the horn worked? That'd be one thing less to worry about. Let's get this battery tray in. Let's get the battery hooked up, and just for the heck of it, see if we have a horn. Okay, so we got our battery tray back in with our battery. We got our $12 horn hooked up through the relay. So, let's go see if there's anything. I'd be very surprised if there was, but you never know. Turn that ignition off. Okay. So far, no. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Okay, so this will probably need a little bit of cleaning up here. These contacts. Oh no, come on. Yeah. Okay, so we know we've got the 12 volts coming in. We're making contact, although it's not a great contact. For my inspection, I would be able to. And of course the key, is it better if the key's on? Probably not. This runs right off the battery. I should know that. I just looked at the diagram. All right. Well, as down as I was about my water pump and my alternator, well, this is good. Step in the right direction. Okay. Okay, that's good. So we got us a working horn. All right. Okay, well, it's a few hours later. I've been fiddling in the car here, and I was going off camera. I was quite excited once I got the horn going. I thought I would try to mess with the wiper motor. I don't know if you can hear it. I can see it, and I can hear it. Oh, mon Dieu. That thing is just going to town. Back and forth, back and forth. There it is. So what I did is I traced back from my battery comes a 12 volt supply. And I had my wire diagram out. And in fact, a lot of stuff I was reading about this car is that this would have had a vacuum motor. So I went inside and I did some research and I read all this stuff about vacuum motors. And then I came back out to the car and I looked underneath. And that looks like, I don't know if you can see it. Excuse my hand. To me, that looked like an electric motor, and there was one measly wire hanging off of it. And the one wire went all the way down, and it was hanging down there somewhere. So, once I proved that this was a feed from my 12 volt, this is the heavy yellow wire that comes from the battery. It branches off into this blue with the yellow stripe, and according to the wiring diagram, I mean, this is not really right. That was supposed to feed the cigar lighter, and the cigar lighter only. So of course my cigar lighter was not working. It was in here, so I pulled it out. Here's the old one. And then I went to my local parts store and I got this more modern, ugly looking one, but just for the heck of it, I hooked it up. And once I grounded it, I have a working cigar lighter, so that's going to make all its way back inside and go here. So, since I isolated a nice 12-volt supply, I peeled back that old wire that was on that motor, and I just hooked it on to this 12-volt supply. Because there was a button in here. It had no indication or nothing. I took this out, thinking that it was maybe this old crusty thing. So this is kind of a two-way switch. Now the power does not come from that 12-volt supply, because according to my wiring diagram, this should not exist in a 62 Comet. And anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. There is nothing on my wiring diagram, unless I've completely lost my mind. There was nothing electric on this car, so I'm wondering if maybe this was changed at one time and somebody added that electric motor. It's kind of the only thing that would kind of make sense, although it does look ancient. To make a long story short, this was just dangling under there with these two open connections. So maybe this would be power in and this would be high speed, low speed? I have no clue. I'm guessing right now. But all I know is I hooked the 12 volts up to that motor. I love that sound. And of course nothing happened until I took my body hammer, because I haven't been doing body work in quite a while, but that was kind of laying in here. So I gave a couple good taps to the wiper motor, and she took off. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this quite a big win, because although I had some disappointments under the hood earlier, I got the horn sorted, and now I'm about 3/4 of the way to the wiper motors. So I think what I'm going to do, regardless, I'm going to shut this down for now. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to hook this switch up, see if this could maybe be a two-way switch. And if it is, that will be solved. Either way, I can pick up 12 volts and I can make my own switch, even if this one is no good. So we got some wipers, we got a horn. Along the same cluster, there's two wires that go into the radio. One is power and one is light. And nothing is happening with this radio. This radio is, I'm going to consider this radio dead. It's probably only an AM anyway, so it'll just be decorative. So yeah, a couple of wins today. So let's check out this switch. Let's hook this switch back in there and see if we can make these wipers work on this switch. Okay. I'm continuing with the work on my Comet, and this is the switch for the wipers. And I tried to do a continuity test on it. The switch sits like this. So obviously you got power coming in, and this is obviously how the electricity would flow back out to the wiper motor. And I gather that little box that I wasn't sure what it was is probably some kind of what would you call it? Not a resistor, maybe a resistor. Anyway, I don't know. I'm really not an electrician. But there's a little box here that probably steps down the power, which would allow you to have high speed and low speed on your wipers. So I opened this up because I'm getting no continuity in the other positions. And I found You know, it kind of looks like there's a little green goop on here. Not goop, but mold. Or not mold. What am I saying? More like corrosion. So I'm going to take some fine emery paper and I'm going to clean these up. And then this little part here, it looks like this comes off. And there's two little springs under there, so they might need a little stretching. Oh, I had this out earlier. There. And see these little springs? I'll give them a little stretch so they're pushing that piece up more. I mean, I could probably find a switch like this. But I mean, what the heck? I got a little bit of time here. I'm just going to see if I can make this old switch work. If I can, then I'm preserving this fantastic thing from 1962. And if not, I can always just go out and buy any 3-position switch. Or for that matter, I can use a 2. I'd be happy with my, if my wipers are only 1 speed, that little box device I'm talking about, that might not be any good. And I'm not even sure what it is. Let's see if I can clean this up to get some continuity through here. And maybe we can reuse this whole thing. Okay. See if we can give this a little scrub. And some little fine emery paper here. Of course, these might also be... I see a lot of corrosion, but I also see wear marks. I mean, these might be wore down to beyond the... I'm actually only really cleaning this up because I got access to a warm workspace for a change. So I'm going to try this. Okay, that should certainly be clean enough to make a contact. So let me put this back together and we'll give it a try. Okay, I got the switch back together. I'm doing a continuity check, 1 position. So I'll be able to have my off, power in, low speed, well, 1 position, the 2nd position for the high and low. I still might not do the high and low, but I'm going to adapt these little connectors on here. I think I'm going to put a little drop of solder in here, and I'm going to put a pigtail on each one of these, maybe something like that. Then I'll be able to tie in with what's there. So, the old switch is working. Let's throw this back in the car. Okay, well, I got my Frankenstein switch back in the car. And here it is, and this switch is now working. I did a little bit of a heat shrink treatment here. So basically, I've hooked up the power. This is the main 12 volt. This basically comes off of the battery. So ignition is off. I don't need anything to run this. So power comes into the switch. This works. Then the power comes out. And I have hooked this up to this wire, which is the wiper motor. So, this middle wire here, which I thought was for my high speed, and there was this little device on here. Where did it go? I didn't know if this was a resistance or a relay. Anyway, I tried this. I couldn't get this to work, and I'm not even 100% sure what it is, so I'm not going to use that because I've got power coming from my battery, which is power from the dash, which is all factory wiring. So this middle line, I'm just going to abandon this one. I don't need it. I've got working wipers, and there's a feature on this car that I just discovered. I had absolutely no idea. Now, onto this same feed, I hooked up the lighter. So, unfortunately, I put the new guts of the lighter. I don't want this lighter. I want this lighter. But this lighter will not light up. But I'm going to use this one anyway because I just want a chrome knob to fit in the hole. And I just needed proof that this actually worked. And it does. It works perfect. So I know that if I plug in, if I want to charge my phone or anything, I know that's going to work. So, yeah. No one's going to be lighting any cigarettes, so we don't need this. Let's not start any fires here. Let's put that in the ashtray. This is the one that's going to live here. You know, kind of suits the. I mean, it's not even a perfect match, but it certainly suits the car better than that modern plastic one. And that modern plastic one, it came with a little light that I removed, and I didn't want that. So, getting back to this wiper. This wiper, if I pull to the first position, I'm just going to grab this and try to pull it. Well, I pull my knob, and I'm going to have a knob like this. So it's going to be a matching set, and that's going to go here. Now my wipers work. You can see them going to town. So here I was thinking that this two-position switch would be for high and low. Maybe it's for intermittent. I don't know if this car would even have intermittent in 1962. But over here, right beside, these are the lights. And the lights do work. Right beside here is a little knob. And that has a cable that's attached somehow to this electric motor. And I can twist it. Depending on what way I twist it. When I twist left, well, there you go. We got our low speed. I can even put it to high speed on this side. So kind of high and low. You can hear it. You can see it. Right here. Now, I had a 64 Mercury pickup. Had nothing like this. I had a 69 F100. Had nothing like this. So, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so, high and low on my Frankenstein switch. This is a 3-position switch, but I'm going to make it work into only 1 position. And that's quite fine. Before I button this all up, I'm going to get some better connectors than that, other than these house things. This is for my test. There is one dangly little wire here that I also want to try. And this is the feed off the radio. Now, I'm going to hook it up and try it. I'm pretty positive that the radio is not going to work. I was hoping maybe the radio light would come on. But so far it doesn't. So, I'm not going to take this apart again. I'm not going to open this old radio. This is an AM radio. It looks good. I like the look of it. I mean, you know, if we want to listen to music, we can just have our phones with us or iPods or, you know, whatever the heck we can sing. So, yeah. So I'm going to call this a small win. I'm not quite done yet. I still got to remount this, and I got to shove that in there without... I think that should fit under there. So let's make these connections a little bit better. Just for the heck of it, let's try the radio, just to see if we can get a hum or something. I don't think, but it's worth a try. Okay, stand by. Okay. Well, I'm going to call this a win. Here's my wipers. Wipers on. And you vary the speed over here. Oops. This one. Well, it's not much, but I'm quite excited about that. Now I'll be able to get my heater hoses back up in here. Put my grill back on. and just maybe start putting some of this gauge cluster back. Okay. Where are you? That's all for now.